All right, welcome to our session today. So today's session, today is the lunar full moon and lunar eclipse. So if you are tuned into the energetic world around you, it may feel like all kinds of a day, not good or bad, but all kinds of mixed energy, mixed emotions, mixed figuring out what to do, where to do, etc., etc. So this is how it is, and it's not that full moon or the lunar eclipse does it more so. It does if you're tuned into the energy, but it's kind of life in general. But if we understand the energies around us, we can pay a little bit more attention to what's going on, and we can pay a little bit more attention, and it can help us navigate the time. So when we're talking about body focus or mind focus or soul focus, it's really all in the same thing. We're just using a different lens to look at the same thing, but we may be getting a different view. So body, our physical body, is the terrain of the subconscious mind. So body is mind. What that means is any of the energetic impulses, our experiences, are stored in the tissues or in our body. It's a subconscious because we are not necessarily aware, because we view body as something separate from our thought, separate from our mind, but it's really the same thing. So what I wanted to talk about today on the realm of the body is the rest and restoration. Our last session on the body focus was about creating a rhythm or understanding the rhythm of your life, of your day, so we can use the body as a resource. We have to first put the body in that rhythm, which means there's a time for eating, time for sleeping. So it's not like, a rigid schedule, but there's got to be some flow, some rhythm to the body so it can resume its natural, intelligent functioning and can serve you well. If we live a chaotic lifestyle, then the body gets chaotic as well. So it can't really help us. It cannot be a resource because it can't return to its intelligence as to what it is meant to do. So we are affected by the seasons. The season has changed. We're moving into the fall, wintry season. And so this energy of this season is very different from the summer season, which is very active energy, very like Pitta, which is the fire element energy, very fiery, more dynamic activity, go activity. In the fall, the energy is a bit more slowing down, and the word that comes to my mind is to restore. So why is that even more important than ever? So when I think about how our lives have changed, because of technology, we are plugged in, we are wired in and connected so deeply that we may not even realize. The phone is always in our hands. That's just how it is. It's not good or bad. We have gotten accustomed to that lifestyle or that habit because for many things, it's very useful, but not everybody is using it in the useful way. But the fact of the matter is that we are highly connected electronically, highly connected with this internet system. We are built to adapt. It can be a good thing and a bad thing. And what do I mean by that? We begin to operate under a high level of stress. We become high functioning even in the high level of stress because we are adaptable. So the stress that is silent, the build of stress that comes from continuously being plugged in, is something we cannot see or even assess. We can only see or assess it when we take a break away from it, so we can now see the contrast. But just because we can adapt and become high functioning under high stress, it does not mean we should. Just because we can does not mean we should. That's the mantra. That's a mantra of these times, because there's a lot of things we can do, right? We can drink alcohol anytime. We can smoke weed, it's legal anytime. We can binge watch Netflix till 5 a.m. We don't have to wait for that 4 o'clock show. Now we can even work anytime because many of the work things are moved at home. So we can pretty much do anything, anytime, anywhere, anyhow. So on one level, it signifies this level of freedom that we may have never had. And frankly, with so much freedom, we really don't even know how to utilize it. Along with the freedom, what we forget comes, there's a cost to freedom. Everything costs. The cost is the discipline, our responsibility, right? So when we want to become free without taking the responsibility, that freedom can cost us. It's not freedom anymore. It can turn into overwhelm and chaos, as we see many of the people experiencing, because they can do anything, anytime, anywhere they want to do. So that's like, what do I do now? The whole world is wide open. When the whole world is wide open, then it may be too big a world for you to handle. So there's a need to restore. When we restore something, like if I want to restore my computer, I turn it off, put the screen down, and I put it to sleep. Same goes for us. When we want to restore, we do have to take time away from being plugged in. By any means of stimulation, electronic stimulation, even stimulation in the external environment in terms of people or social circles. We just need to be by ourselves to get recharged. And going in nature, because the nature can recharge you, can regenerate you. So this is a season that we slow down the activity. It's not that we become lazy, it's just we still do a lot, but we do it, it's how we are doing it. We do it a little bit slower down. You may notice that you require more sleep. Because we can handle a lot of stress, and we don't see the stress, that the effect that it's having on our physical body. When you give yourself permission to rest and sleep, you can do so for long periods of time, and you may need to do that. Sleep is a very effective way to restore all the systems functioning. And most of us are running on low sleep as it is, due to our lifestyle plus the quality of the sleep. And the quality of the sleep is affected by our lifestyle. Quality of our sleep is poor because many factors, I think. More sedentary lifestyle, more exposure to like the technology which stimulates the nervous system at nighttime. And I think physically, we're not moving around much. We're not going working in the fields. We're not, everything is a push button. We're a push button society. We don't even, many of us don't even cook meals. So the world is changing at a very rapid pace before our eyes. And it really is important for us to get our wits about it and not get carried away with it. So lack of not sufficient physical movement can either make you lethargic or can disrupt the sleep. It can work either way, depends on who is it working with. So take time to rest, restore, and get a good night sleep. So a few things about the sleep. As I always mention, begin to wind down. There's a little bit of winding down time is needed. So the nervous system can wind down, can slow down. And that can include anything. For some, it could be like a cup of tea, reading something nice and easy, cup of tea, listening to some music. And for some people, it might be watching something, as long as it's not something so stimulating. But you have to look at the effect of the blue light on the nervous system. So now there are glasses made that you can wear that lowers the impact of that, because that comes in the production of melatonin. And now we have melatonin supplements that you can take. But I always like to just keep life simple and just notice what works for you. And if your sleep is disturbed, and see if you during the day you can, meditation can be very restful, and just take a quick nap. So listen to your body will tell you. When energetically, there's like an energetic storm around us, okay, in our world. Today's an election day as well, I think, in the US. So we have this energetic storm around us. Whether we are aware of it or not, we are still subjected to it, because energy does its thing. We can't contain ourselves from this energy. So it's good to know if you're affected by it, then you can at least do something about it, rather than by default be affected by it and wondering what the heck is going on with me. So in order to navigate this energetic storm, there's a lot of experiences that we are experiencing at the subconscious level that we are not aware of. So where are those experiences leaving an imprint? They're leaving an imprint on our nervous system. And slowly, those imprints create a psychological weight. And it is so subtle that we don't see it, we don't realize it until it turns into sometimes full-blown symptom. So that is why it's important to understand the energies around us, like the full moon, the eclipse. The eclipse and full moon is just going to magnify. It's going to magnify everything there is to be magnified. It's going to work differently for different people. So full moon will magnify, and the eclipse does really the same thing, but in a more darker way, that is going to create sudden shifts or sudden realization, something that has been hidden for you that's coming to surface, and then it can turn the inner world upside down. And those experiences do affect our nervous system. When the nervous system is weighed down, we do need to rest more, meditate more, and restore the sleep, restore our body. What else did I want to talk about? So we're not, it's just really being intuitive, being tuned in as to what is going on and how to keep our energy, keep our physical and psychological energy clear and clean, and at a level which puts us in alignment with whatever it is that we are doing. So for me, and you can experience that as too, and you know that you are who are within this membership, breath is such a great way to restore. Because when we are breathing, we are not focusing on anything else. And it's just really a great way to recalibrate our nervous system, to regulate our nervous system. So if you can at this time, go ahead and just even now place one hand on your heart, one hand on your belly. And just begin to tune in to the beat of your heart and the rhythm of your breath. Breathing in, breathing out. So conscious breathing as you pay attention to the sound, the movement, and the rhythm of the breath. And you may notice the heartbeat slowing down and the breath is just becoming more rhythmic, more regular. So it doesn't have to be anything complicated. It can be something just simple as that, as just stopping and pausing to connect with your inner rhythms, the inner clock with your heartbeat and the cycle of your breath. And just paying attention to it, giving it an opportunity to self-regulate. Do that for another minute. And relax. And why the body is so important. So we know that, we know we have choices, but we end up making the wrong choice anyways. One of the reasons, there are many reasons, so one of the reasons is we simply have not embodied the power or the level of consciousness to make that choice. Yes, we need the level of consciousness, but we need to calibrate the body so it can hold that higher level of consciousness. So if we're not sleeping, if we're not eating right, if we're not resting, then the nervous system is not cultured enough for it to hold the high level of consciousness. And then there is this mismatch, right? It creates this rift between even more tolerance, like I know what I have to do, but I'm not doing it. We kind of feel stuck open. I'm very conscious, you feel acutely aware. And instead of it helping you, calming you, it can annoy you. It can be annoying and disturbing and doesn't feel good. So to restore the body to its natural, intelligent function, it is important, number one, to put it in your rhythm. There's a time you rest it, there's a time you feed it. And then, it's important to, add extra rest as you notice the energies around you are erratic, are too overwhelming, too much is going on. And because every experience, whether we realize it or not, it's actually impacting the body, it's impacting our nervous system. And just because we can function under high stress does not mean we want to do that for a prolonged period of time. So we don't want to get into the fight or flight mode. It can happen. We want to get more in the responsive mode. And that requires that the body is rested and nourished. Now, moving on to the nourishment. So it's not just, with the change times, with the energy being high, with more sedentary lifestyle, the food choices, we may have to pay a little bit more attention to it. So yes, in the winter, fall time, we eat heavier foods, we need warmer foods, we eat a little bit more oilier foods. But another thing I want you to pay attention to is looking at the prana quotient of the food, the energetic value of the food, right? So a potato salad made 3 days ago has really distorted energy, distorted prana. Not highly pranic food because it's been 3 days. Same thing happens with so when you look at the animal products, the meat that we consume, so the meat comes already, the energy is from killing something. There's like a cold, dead energy, right? That's already energetically, that's the composition of it. But I'm not suggesting you to eat meat or not meat. You have to look at your lifestyle, but I am suggesting that you mindfully consume. We want to increase the consumption of foods that have high prana and reduce the consumption of foods that are low prana. So high pranic food is pretty much, your freshly cooked meals. Sprouts have high prana because they've been sprouted. The elements like the fire, nothing has touched them. So they contain high prana. But again, in the winter season, doesn't mean we eat all the sprouted food. We can add it to our meal, but eating only that can cause another, because we need warm, cooked, heavier meals. So the reason why I provided this example of the sprouts is just to give you an example of what is high pranic food. So freshly cut fruit has high prana than fruit in a can. Fresh vegetables have high prana than those that are coming in a can. And prana is also, the food prana is also affected by the intention, by our energy when we are cooking it. Okay, so a drive-through window of McDonald's, I'm not suggesting you do that, but it's just for you to have an example. I doubt there's any prana in there. First of all, the food itself has no food value. And secondly, they're on an assembly line. They don't care who the heck is consuming it. They don't know you. You don't know them. This is work. It's business. It's very different when there is a mother cooking for you because she's your mother. She knows the food is for you. She knows what you like, what you don't like. She puts that element of love inside it. So that food has high pranic value. Most of us don't have mothers anymore who are going to cook for us. But the point is, when you cook a meal with presence and love and the intention to nurture, that food becomes high prana. Even if it could be, my teacher would say that if it's a food that's not such high value, maybe say a little prayer over it. So it turns into high value. It's our intention, it's the energy we put in it. So pay attention to when you are, and that's why there's a problem with cooking and eating on the go, because the presence isn't there. When the presence isn't there, the intention isn't there, love is not there. that energy is not there. So the energy is just being rushed, like I don't have time, like this is a chore, like I just want to fill the gap, the hole in my body that's making me feel hungry. There's no psychological nurturing or satisfaction that comes from eating that kind of a meal. And it's not a surprise that we as a society are psychologically so hungry. Why I say we are psychological so hungry? Because just look at the mental, emotional challenges, look at the substance and alcohol abuse, look at the addictions, and look at the suffering that is going on around us. You just have to talk to the person next door to you, and you'll realize that they're not in harmony. They're not happy. They're not joyful. They're not in alignment with what they want to do, and they're doing it well. So this is the state of the world. So we as yogis, we as conscious people, going with the flow of the world is not something we want to do. Right? There's no, this high consciousness, this awareness has to work to better our psyche, our body, our life, so then we can share it with others, so we can become that beacon of light for others. When you are eating, so resting and restoring the body, nurturing the body with good food means not just what you're eating, but how are you eating it? How did you prepare it? So putting the good intentionality, putting love into your food so it can nurture you. Take a time, take a little moment before we, many times we cook, we're starving, we just want to just gobble it all down. So it takes only a second, just pause and take a moment to think about everything that happened in the world outside and internally in your kitchen for you, for that food to be on your table. And set an intention that that food may nurture and satisfy you and give you good health. And it's a very simple thing, but it has a very profound effect on our digestion, on what we retain, on the nourishing value of the food. So you want to think about prana, think about the energetic level of the food. So any food that's on sale, bad quality food is just not food anymore, because it's better not to even eat it. It's better to eat better quality, small quantity. And with the sedentary lifestyle, you may notice that you don't need to consume so much. I definitely have noticed a huge shift in my eating since the pandemic. I may eat one meal a day and a smaller little meal. That's all I may eat. Or if I eat, I may eat very small quantity or just a handful of something. So the meals with the lunch and dinners, I feel like I don't have that much of a need for it. So you assess for yourself, the breakfast, lunch, and dinner, it worked because our lifestyles were so different. And portions of food were relative to the amount of physical work we did. So we have to adjust back to the sedentary lifestyle. And what you will notice also that when the food is high quality, high prana, and you eat with presence, you'll get satisfied sooner. So hunger is not just, the filling of the physical space in the belly, but it's really the psychological hunger, satisfying the psychological hunger. So these subtle things can make a big difference in our well-being. And so much has kind of, I guess everything evolves. So much has just kind of moved away from the simple, basic understanding of our life. because of the industrial revolution, because of the technology, because of the advancements we have made, we have forgotten something really fundamental, which is the body works the same way, mind works the same way. We're wired the same way, that we still have to come back to nourishing ourselves, body, mind, and soul. So this may be just a reminder for many of you to just that little attention around what you're eating, paying attention to tuning into the stresses in your life and see if there is somewhere where you have normalized the high stress. And these are the times to increase the meditation, self-reflection, restoring the body, and resting at a deeper level. And another reminder, many of you, are doing that, is to just, self-care. That's a whole new topic, but just even using some hot oil massaging your body. It's a touch. It touch your own touch to your body. It increases the circulation. It calms down the nervous system. Again, nothing doesn't have to be big, drawn out procedure. It can be a 5-minute thing. But it's really the intention, your presence, that will make it more potent, and it'll make it work for you. All right, so happy full moon, happy eclipse. It's kind of a strange statement to make. It's neither happy nor bad. It is what it is. It's life, but eclipses, full moons just highlight our life and draw our attention to it. When we understand that, we can just navigate our psychological world better. We can take care of ourselves better. So with that, I am going to